Decap, what's going on? How you doing?
What's up, man?
Really excited to have you here and learn about plugins that knock. What do you got in store for us today?
Yes, sir. So I'm going to show you guys how to use my plugin Knock. So Knock is basically a plugin that you can put on your drum bus or really anything. And it basically makes your kicks hit harder, your snares smack harder, just beef up your sound in general.
Love that. And just before we jump in, this plugin, specifically Knock, is available at rent to own on Plugin Boutique. Is that right?
Yep. Knock is rent to own. Yeah, you can get it for a low monthly cost.
Love that. Let's go ahead and jump in, man.
This is a drum break that I found on my computer. All right, so now let's make it knock. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set the high quality mode to pristine, which is an oversampling, and let's turn on knock. So as you can see, when I turn it on, it doesn't do anything. But let's go through all these features. So punch is a transient shaper. It adds just some punch to the beginning of the transient of the sound. So I'll show you what it sounds like when I add it. Let's go extreme first. So you can see it just makes your transients pop. So we're going to use a little less of that. Nothing. And you can see the graphic pulses along with the sound. Saturation's just a really dope sounding saturator, and you have 3 modes, low, medium, and high. Let's go extreme with it. Obviously we won't use that much, but that's just to show you what it does if you push it hard. So let's dial it down. Just give it a little bit of color. So the sub feature, what it does is it can detect anytime a kick drum hits and add a sub oscillator to it. So it basically puts an 808 under your kick to beef it up. So let's see what that sounds like. So this top knob, it lets you go with a longer sound. It adjusts the release of it, and this is a shorter decay. So let me show you guys what that sounds like. And here you can actually select the frequency of the sub oscillator. You could do it by frequency or by actual note.
Does a sub get triggered dynamically? So if I had kicks, right? Not all the kicks in my drum loop are going to be hitting at the same velocity, for example. Will the sub mimic how much velocity it has depending on the velocity of the kick itself, or is it pretty much just kind of like triggering a sample on and off?
Yes, it will mimic the velocity.
Love that.
So now I'm going to put knock on this break. Add some punch to it. Add a little saturation. Let's throw some sub on it. Let's turn the decay up. So as you turn the note up, it's changing the sub. In this case, we don't want the sub to be very long, so we're going to turn the decay back down. I just want it to be like basically the length of the kick to just give it that punch. And as you can hear, like the hits are different and it's dynamic the way it's hitting. So it's not just triggering a sub, it's dynamically processing it to make it sound realistic. So like we'll go extreme so you can hear what it's doing. Obviously that's way too much, but we'll just do a little bit. I like that. So then we have an air function, and that just adds basically shine or top end to whatever signal you put into it. I have 2 modes, there's vintage and there's clean, and I'll just show you what it sounds like. Let's go a little extreme with it. So that's vintage. It adds like a vintage character to your drum. And then we have clean. It's just very bright and clean. So for this one, I want to clean it up, so let's keep the clean one for now. And then at the end, adjustable hard and soft clipper. So this is, if it's all the way to the left, it's soft clipping. You can see this curve. And as you move it to the right, it goes into hard clip mode. So let's turn up the clipper. Let's bump it because this break is very quiet. So let's turn it up. And when you turn this up, you're turning up the gain going into the clipper. And for those of you who don't know what a clipper is, it's taking your signal and pushing it above 0 decibels, but it's making it so the audio doesn't actually clip. So the audio is going above 0 decibels, but there's a ceiling. And the hard and soft clip determines the character of what it sounds like when it engages with that ceiling. So this is kind of like what they used to do with analog tape and that sort of thing. There was a method of hitting your sound hard, so basically you could get this like really warm sounding character. That's hard clipped. And that's soft clipped. You can see the soft clip is very, it's a lot smoother, and the hard clip's a little more rugged. So then from here, if you want to like try turning off one of the effects, you can just literally click on the graphics at the top. So they'll gray out, then you turn them back on. And down here you have an EQ. So low pass and high pass filter. So you can play with the sound. You can try cutting some of the highs, maybe go into vintage mode, turn it way up, get a whole new sound out of your break. That's kind of cool. And then at the bottom, you have gain match, which basically if you turn it on, it will be at your original volume. And if you turn off gain match, it'll give you a much louder signal because you're pushing it into the clipper. And then you have tone. What tone is, if you look at the graphic as I turn this up and turn it down, it basically rebalances the highs and lows. So with this one, let's say I feel like after I did these adjustments, there's too much bass. You can turn the tone up, and so now you have more highs and less lows. Or if you thought there was too much highs, you could do the opposite. More lows, less highs. So the reason I added that in was to kind of give you a final level of rebalancing your signal. So it's knock, and I know I'm going pretty in depth right now, but knock was intended so you could just load it up and just quickly dial in a sound. So what I'm doing here, even though I talked a lot, this really takes like 20 seconds or less. It's just move a couple knobs, get intuitive with it, and find a vibe.
Well, I got a question. On the saturation, there are the 3 kind of dials or knobs or buttons there. Are those 3 different flavors of saturation or 3 different intensities of the same saturation?
They are 3 different intensities of the same algorithm, the same saturation algorithm, but they will give a different flavor. It's very subtle, but I wanted to include it just so you can really dial in the sound you want.
Yeah, man. I mean, I love simple but powerful plugins, and this seems to be one. Really looking forward to getting my hands on it and checking it out myself.
Hey, let's go.
Cool. All right. Well, I mean, I know you're a busy man, so I will let you get back to it. Everybody, definitely check these plugins out. Links will be in the video description as usual. I'm Joshua Casper. That's Decap, a really great YouTuber. Check out his YouTube channel. I'll leave that in the video description as well. But as usual, we'll see you in the next one.